That's real nasty. You cannot eat Jordan almonds. Eva, I'm so serious. We put so much energy into this, and I ask you so little. Can you not get another snack? Why don't you just get a Nature's Own granola bar from a vending machine and crunch that on?
Ew. Also, this isn't going to make any noise. Go.
I have been thinking recently. I know I'm right about this.
So probably not.
How do you feel? No, you're going to like this. An assertion. I feel as if the girls girling of it all has become, like, a girl's girl has become the Christianity for narcissistic women. Because you know how, like, narcissists will be like, religion is something that is, like, constructive and good for people, but I can use it for my own ends.
I saw somebody relate it to Andrew Tate the other day.
Pause. He's not a girl's girl.
No, they said it's the same thing as, like, some girls on the internet, or the people who go, you go, mama, with, like, no, like, repercussions to, like, what people are like, no accountability because a sad thing happened, is the same thing as, like, Andrew Tate's cult, which I don't think anything's as bad as that, but interesting pull.
But do you feel what I feel? Do you feel like people will use, like, because they can use girl to be like, you're not a girl's girl, and they can use that to manipulate
You're
you.
right.
And then they can do something shitty and be like, well, I'm just a girl's girl. Because there was that
You're
girl.
wrong.
There was that girl. Did you see the thing? I was here for the whole ride.
I don't think there's anything I hate more than someone self-proclaiming that they're a girl's girl.
Right. It's like that thing where, like, well, I'm a Christian. And it's like, well, because you had to tell me that, I know you're probably bad.
Oh, yeah.
So whenever I'm a girl's girl, and it's like, oh, so now I know you suck.
I went to school. It used to be this one. This was the narcissism.
See, don't you like my assertion?
The narcissism of the 2015 era was, I'm just the kind of person who, and then they would say whatever. If you did tell me you're just the kind of person who, you're probably not that kind of person. I'm just the kind of person who really thinks about things before you're a bitch. You're a bitch and you don't want to be held accountable.
Right. So you see what I'm saying? I feel like that girl's girl of it all has become that.
I saw one today where the girl was like, she said she was flying and she touched the flight attendant because she thought they were skipping her for drink service. And the flight attendant hollered at her. Right. Well, everyone in the comments was like, the flight attendant should have never done that to you, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, I'm not on your side. People assault flight attendants all the time. You're not allowed to touch them. The way that I've never, let her skip you for a free soda. And here's the other thing. Also, it's okay to have a negative interaction.
She's going to come back and you can be like, hey, I'm so sorry I didn't get my soda.
The way that it's okay to have a negative interaction, have a day.
No, people
after that,
they can just
the way that you need
touch
to
people in general.
Right. You don't need to touch people. It is a federal crime to touch flight attendants. And the way that you're all like shitting on her, people treat airline staff so badly. Right. Just don't touch them. Don't touch them. So, she's like, oh, it's going to ruin my whole week. She was so mean to me. I'll let her be mean. My bad.
So
have a different day after that.
There was this girl on TikTok who I fell for the okie doke.
The okie doke.
And then my notifications got pounded.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Because
I will delete what I said, even if it was good and I was right and people were on my side, because I don't want 10,000 notifications.
It was a harmless comment, but yeah, I suffered. So this girl was at a farmer's market. She's been looking for a pair of vintage boots.
Oh, that was a scam.
Yeah, well, I said I fell for the okie doke.
Oh.
But
yeah, that's funny.
They were like, everyone was like on her side. But the concept of this girl wouldn't show me her boots, so I snuck a photo of her, was so intrusive.
Yeah, I'm very tired.
And she was like, she should have been a girl's girl. She should have told me the boots. And I saw someone make a video saying, why the fuck did she owe you the boots? She didn't. And I was like, damn, that's right.
First off, it's not even that she didn't owe you the boots. She didn't owe you the time of her day.
Right. That's people will girls girl you into feeling obligated.
Don't touch their boyfriends. Don't touch their purses. Don't touch their wheelchairs, their surface animals, their kid.
Welcome to Read It and Screech, the podcast
for my sweet Harriet.
This week we present Love the One You're With by Emily Giffin. If you're too loud, you can sit with us while I give you the Cliffs Notes and the cringiest quotes, and we go screeching all the way. Reading this book was kind of like a dream where you're hollering at people, but no one can hear you.
It's a nightmare.
Because you're like, no, do that! And then they do it. It is 385 pages. Audiobook was 11 hours, 12 minutes. Narrated by Kathleen McInerney.
I'm not even going to try to say that.
Could be just 3.8. And here's the thing. I think I had told you this about the TikTok drama with Emily Giffin. She's like a very established author. She is not like one of the newer up and coming TikTok viral people. And this is going to be so goddamn mean. But okay. I don't know how to say this in a way that will not get us like shat on. But there's a reason that traditionally published authors get paid well for the books that they write. And I love, I love that like nowadays indie authors kind of get their flowers in ways they never would have before. I love that self-publishing makes it so that talented people can get notoriety and success. However, but sometimes people who are traditionally published are just like they're vetted, they're edited, and they make a good product. So anyway, point being, Emily Giffin, I've read 2 of her books now, and they were both just really, really well written. So even if it's like, perhaps you didn't care for it, I was like, oh, that was good. And then I realized like so many books that I read, I'm like giving a person a shot who probably there's a reason they didn't get picked up by a publisher, and they're just not good. And you're just wading through the sludge. So what happened with Emily Giffin was she lives in Atlanta, I think, and somebody caught her husband and her best friend, this was like last year, sitting at like a bar or a restaurant talking about how they were having an affair and how she was so stupid for not figuring it out. And the weird thing about
First off, you can get a hotel room.
Here's the thing.
You don't have $50 between you.
Well, it gets weirder. So we couldn't figure out if it was her husband. At first, it seemed like it was her talking to her publisher and she was the one that was doing the dirty. But then it came out, I think it was them doing her dirty. And who knows like if all of this was true. But the weird thing about it is that several of the plots of her books are centered around like infidelity for the last like 15 years. Girl. Because she wrote, as we know, Something Borrowed, which was the movie that had Kate Hudson in it, where they're the two lifelong best friends, and one of them sleeps with the other one's fiance and it's ruined. She wrote that book, and then Life Imitates Art, perhaps. And then, so that was like a rom-com in their early 2010s. And then Something Blue was the follow-up, which is one of my favorite books ever, because it's about the girl whose fiance cheated on her. And then she wrote this one, and all of those books like had a huge plot point about infidelity. So that's so fucking wild for that to have happened to her.
Thanks, I hate it.
Right. And people were like, oh, it's this blonde, really famous author in Atlanta. And they just described her. She seems like a perfectly nice lady. I don't think she deserved that. No, there's people I think deserve bad things. And I'm working on that through therapy.
No, somebody said that because I said that I will wish bad things on people. Because people are like, oh, I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. And I was like, I will. And then
I know, I'm working on it.
And then somebody was like, yeah, I do that sometimes. And I was like, I do it sometimes while the bad thing is happening to me. I'm like, I would rather this was happening too.
Do you know what I say all the time? And literally no one has ever caught me. I always go, God, I would wish this on my worst enemy. And I always say it, and no one has ever caught me and they go, I know, right? I wouldn't either. And I'm like, you didn't hear me.
I definitely said I would, and I'm thinking of them right now. And I would cast this upon them if I had the powers.
Or I would say, I would only.
And the skill.
I'll say, I would only wish this on my worst enemy.
If I only had more skill.
So, okay. The setting is New York City.
New York City.
And it is from the point of view, first person, of just the main girl. There's really 4 main people. Ellen is the main character. She is in her early 30s. She's a photographer and a newlywed to Andy, her best friend's brother. She's from Pennsylvania, but went to Wake Forest. She met said best friend Margot there. Margot's family is from Atlanta and has old Southern white people money.
Oh, goody.
Ellen's mom died when she was little, and the lack of positive, mature female guidance will be apparent soon.
Oh, good.
Andy is a quintessential Southern white boy with family money. He's a lawyer. And Leo is Ellen's ex-boyfriend, and I would describe him as gross. So the backstory is that Ellen meets Leo at jury duty, and it's right after she had just called Andy to help her get out of it, actually. And Leo is literally the fucking worst. He's a writer, and he's one of those icky hipsters with commitment issues. And they date on and off for like a year and a half, and he's several years older than her. And her best friend hates him.
I hate him.
Ellen decides it's because she's jealous of their passionate relationship.
That's definitely what it is, girl.
And Margot's like, no, it's because you're the worst person ever around him.
And if you had met me, you'd think I wasn't a girl's girl, because I also don't think that.
So their relationship was hot and heavy, but then it cooled off, and he started ditching her all the time, even on holidays. So she told him that they should break up as a bluff, but then he said okay and never called her again. Like a year after they broke up is when she started seeing Andy. so there was no overlap then. After college, she and Margot moved to New York and lived off Margot's trust fund and the nice job that she had because Ellen had no money and no prospects and was already a burden to her best friend's parents.
Literally. Ew.
She had gotten a philosophy degree, which proved as useless as it sounds. So she picked up photography, and apparently she's amazing at it right out the gate.
Doesn't sound like it. She's living on somebody else's money.
Well, that's the backstory. Starting off, 100 days exactly after marrying Andy, Ellen sees her ex Leo while crossing the street in Union Square, which is somewhere I would pretend I knew where it was to seem like a New Yorker, but I don't know.
Like Union Station?
Just as Union Square, I don't know. So she's at a crosswalk. If I was trying to blend in with someone, I'd be like, yeah, you know. But then I've been in New York twice. She goes to a diner and decides to never speak of it because it would validate the importance of seeing him in the wild. She orders a bagel and thinks about all the nice things she loves about her husband because he's nice and attractive, loving and supportive, and great in bed.
She's gonna fuck that other dude.
What a bastard. So she gets a call from Leo while she's still in the diner, and she hasn't heard from him in 8 years. And he asks where she is, and she tells him that she's at the diner.
Me too.
So he meets up with her.
So I hate it already. Girl, ew.
She doesn't feel guilty, though.
Clearly.
Because she doesn't fix her lip gloss before he gets there. And she tells him she's married.
The bar's in hell. He's bought her. She can fix her lip gloss.
What I meant to tell you at the beginning was that this is one of the, a deeply unlikable main character.
Oh, I didn't realize.
Deeply unlikable. And, just because you hate the main character doesn't mean it's a bad book. She's very unlikable.
Some nest ass shit.
Literally. He's butthurt that she married a nice, successful person and then catches her hand and says that he's sorry for everything. And says, well, we should be friends again.
No.
And she says,
the end.
She says, no, fuck you, and leave. She walks home ruminating over the interaction and obsessing about him and thinking about her art as a photographer. And I'm going to say some things I'm probably going to cut out, just so you know.
Fuck, I hate it already.
She's talking about all the things that she loves to photograph. She's describing different pictures that she's taken. And she says that she took a photo of a dark-skinned nanny holding a creamy white baby.
The way that we're just saying things.
Mm-hmm. She says that she only talks to the people that she takes pictures of if they notice she's sneaking a photo of them. So her whole thing is she takes pictures of unsuspecting strangers, which I hate.
There's a whole genre of that.
That's a whole
people of New York and stuff.
Right, but that's a whole nother reason to check the box for she sucks.
It's voyeuristic as shit.
Yeah. She imagines that her mom would not approve of her pining over her ex-boyfriend.
Weird.
And then she reminisces about meeting him at jury duty, and the sparks are not flying between them. The chemistry is...
Because you're not in her pants, Grace.
Literally, the chemistry is never in the room with us. She gets home and decides that she's going to listen to music to get the interaction with Leo out of her system.
She's playing, hey Siri, play Bust Down Tatiana.
While she waits for Andy to get home, but he got home first, so the ick lingers. And he asks what she's been up to all day, and she tells him that her phone was off. A lie, because Leo called her on that phone.
100 days in, and we're already a liar.
Mm-hmm. But she decides it's not a lie because her phone was off at one point during the day. She decides that she wouldn't want to know if he ran into his ex, so she's doing nothing wrong. Then she initiates sex to try to assuage her guilt, but it makes it worse because she thinks about Leo the whole time.
Ew! Also, she gives the vibe of someone who would want to know if he ran into his ex.
Literally. The next morning, Margot calls at the butt crack of dawn to tell them that she is pregnant.
No.
She moved back to Buckhead after she got married. Andy asks if Ellen wants a baby too, and she says no.
Girl! Right now?
She's like, yeah, but not yours. I want Leo's.
Literally. He's right now on press Amazon Prime order pickup.
They make plans to go to Atlanta the next week to visit. Margot asks if she wants to talk to her husband, asks if Ellen wants to talk to her husband. And she says, sure, even though no decent woman has ever wanted to talk to her best friend's husband on the phone ever.
You said they were brothers.
No, so Margot is married to somebody who's not from the family and friends. She's married to a third party.
An outsider!
An outsider. And Ellen doesn't like him that much. She thinks he's gross, kind of.
She's probably right.
No, he's fine. And so she's like, yeah, I'm pregnant. Do you want to talk to my husband? And Ellen's like, sure.
Girl, why?
The way I would.
He's your brother. Talk to him. No.
Thoughts of Leo fade over the next week, except for they don't. That's what she tries to tell us, but it's obviously not true. She rambles about him in her head the whole time. So they fly to Atlanta the next week, and on the flight, she helps Andy with a crossword puzzle while thinking about how passionate it was to start a relationship while on jury duty with Leo. She gets a message when they land, and she thinks it's from Margot, but it's not. It's from Leo. Margot picks them up at the airport, and she's holding up the line, and if you've ever ridden to Hartsfield-Jackson, you know that is a Cardinal sin. The way they will fuck you up in that line. They call it kiss and go, and the cop will come up behind you and start smacking on the back of your car.
Yeah, they do that in Myrtle Beach, too.
Is bad. They talk about rich people stuff, i.e. leather floors they just put in their basement.
What?
Did you know they make leather floors?
There's no animal large enough to be the floor of your basement.
While they're all just shooting the shit, they start poking fun at Margot for hiring her high school boyfriend to take care of their lawn, which brings up the discussion of being friends with exes. They ask her if she would ever do such a thing as be friends with an ex. They ask Ellen that.
Would you ever do such a thing?
Mm-hmm. And she says, well, Andy's ex sent him a Christmas card one time, but I would never talk to an ex. That evening, she tries to bring up the topic of talking to exes to Margot because she's trying desperately to justify her fuck-ass behavior. Margot accidentally makes a loophole for her by saying, as long as it wasn't serious and things are over, there's nothing wrong with the occasional hello in passing, which is not at all what has happened so far.
No, you should definitely homeschool run the moment you see them. Naruto style.
This is all the permission she needs. So she listens to the voicemail from him in the bathroom, and it's saying for her to call her back for a work thing. You two don't work together. So that answers that. She decides that if she doesn't call back, it will just make her obsess over it, and then it will make it look like she cares too much to not respond.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah.
She is so preoccupied that her mother-in-law notices and asks what's wrong.
That's embarrassing as shit.
Yes. So she sneaks back to the bathroom and calls him back. And it turns out he's doing an article on a very famous musician, and he wants her to take the photos for it. And nothing more. It's just a crystal, nothing more. Liar. She tells him no, and that she only takes projects through her booking agent. So he contacts her agent, and then she takes it. She decides that her husband wouldn't want her to turn down the opportunity over a silly ex-boyfriend.
Her husband wouldn't want her, period.
Well, why don't you tell him then? If you wouldn't mind, then you could tell him. They go to dinner to celebrate the opportunity.
Is this book going to end with him happy with someone else?
I would love to tell you. I'd love to tell you.
Because this is wild.
I know.
That we have to listen to this.
They go
justification.
I know. They go to dinner to celebrate the opportunity, and Andy tells her that he wants to quit his job and practice law in a famously smaller and more family-oriented environment, Atlanta. This you can tell. One negative thing I'll say about her. She clearly, living in
Atlanta.
She clearly lives in, the nice part. Clearly, she's from Buckhead. If you believe that.
Yeah, that's where her husband was caught cheating. Duh.
He even has a house picked out for them already, but no pressure.
Oh my God.
Mm-hmm. She tells her sister about the potential move, and the sister makes her promise not to start saying y'all and flying a Confederate flag.
Same.
Fair concerns. She tells her about the photo shoot, and sister says she'll come along and play assistant for it. And Ellen's like, oh no, then I won't be alone.
Then I get Mac on that douche.
But then allegedly she didn't know who's going to be there at the job that he got her.
So she's full of shit.
Right. When she flies to LA, she goes to meet her sister and runs into Leo at the hotel bar. And she's wearing a shirt with no bra. She's surprised because she thought he wouldn't be there. A lie. That has to be a lie. He's an unreliable narrator.
Literally.
So he follows her on the bar, and her sister walks up while he's trying unabashedly to get in her pants.
Ew.
And he invites them out to dinner later and tells her his room number.
Oh my fucking God.
Subtle. Her sister says you could cut the sexual tension with a butter knife, but doesn't judge her for the situation.
So she's a bad person too.
Honestly, her sister's the best person in the whole story. They do not meet up with Leo, thankfully, but she does fantasize about going to his room to commit adultery, since it wouldn't count since they're across the country from home.
Oh my God. So everyone who's ever cheated, if you were away from home, it didn't count.
Mm-hmm. Everyone believes that. She does the photo shoot, and it's fine. After the shoot, Leo tries to get her to stay an extra day with him in LA, but she tells him no, she has to take the red eye home. She tells him he has a lot of nerve dumping her and then trying to talk to her again 8 years later. And he says, well, that's not how he remembers it. He can't remember why they broke up. Convenient. She gets on her flight home and is stuck next to some drunk, obnoxious man eating Burger King. So she tries to ignore him.
Specifically Burger King?
Yeah. And she closes her eyes and turns her music up. And then when she opens her eyes, it's Leo next to her instead. And
he's still eating Burger King?
No. He bought a first-class ticket and then switched with Burger King guy. Safe to say he doesn't take no as a complete sentence. So they talk the whole trip home. He has a girlfriend too, and
he doesn't give a shit about.
Right. He carries a photo of her in his wallet. Despite this, he tells her he doesn't know how he ever let her get away and holds her hand the rest of the flight.
Ew.
Mm-hmm. They decide to share a cab, and he invites her in to his apartment for coffee, quote unquote. She says no and then cries all the way home.
Yeah, because she had to say no, and she's sad.
She was left wanting.
She's like, damn it.
Aching for more. So she gets home to her loving husband, and he tells her he missed her, and she feels horrible because she didn't miss him back. She didn't even get him an autograph from the musician, even though it's one of his favorites.
Oh my God.
Mm-hmm. Turns out while she was gone, he flew to Atlanta and picked out
that fucking house.
Picked out the house for them down the street from Margot. She, low-key, is not excited to move, but she pretends that she is out of guilt.
These people suck.
Mm-hmm. So they get ready to move, and the article that she took the photos for is about to be published. This whole time, she has not prepared for the fact that Leo will be listed as the author, so people will know it's him that got her the job. So she didn't even tell her husband that he was involved, and when the article comes out, it's going to have their names on it together. Oops. Right. So they go to this goodbye party that Andy's firm is throwing for him, and Margot has flown up to support them and help them move. Mid-party, Ellen's agent comes in and announces to everyone that she has an early copy of the magazine with the article in it, and she presents it to the crowd. And then Ellen tries to downplay it so no one will notice Leo's name, and Andy doesn't notice, but Margot, her friend, does.
The sister?
Huh? Andy's sister. The next day, Ellen calls her personal sister. And then her sister, who's the one that went and helped her do the photo shoot, tells her that she has nothing to feel bad about because she didn't go to dinner with him or anything while they were there. But she doesn't know about that weird sexually charged hand-holding on the red eye.
This book sucks.
Yeah. The book doesn't suck. The people and the story suck, which is the book. But
the way that I would have DNF'd this so fast.
No, you wouldn't have. Margot does confront Ellen about the whole photo shoot while they're waiting at the gate to fly to Atlanta. But since she's a good, supportive friend, she says that her feelings are hurt that Ella didn't tell her. And she tells her that as long as it was only professional, she shouldn't have to worry about telling Andy. So they settle into their gigantic, beautiful house with a pool. And apparently Andy has to do almost no work at his dad's law firm where he works now. So they just lay around watching daytime TV, and she starches his clothes and keeps home. She has nothing in common with all the weird Southern people, and Margot has annoying friends, and she hates it. Her sister tells her to get a grip because she has the nicest life. They go to dinner at Margot's house with her friends, and Ellen brings a shitty bottle of wine from Pennsylvania, where she's from, and they'll make fun of it.
Yeah, fuck Pennsylvania. God damn, this is weird.
They don't know that Ellen's the one that brought it. So they're like, who brought this shitty cooking wine? And they're like, where's it from? And she's like, it's from Pennsylvania, and I brought it. And it makes everyone feel awkward. And instead of defending her, later Andy tells her that she should have just let it go and not said anything. So she gets mad and sleeps on the couch. The next morning, she tries to pick a fight again, and he tells her she's overreacting about the wine. He is taking everything personally, and she shouldn't have made his sister uncomfortable, which is... As soon as he leaves for the day, she sneaks to go email Leo about the article and tells him she misses him. And then he calls her, and she vents to him about how much she hates it in Georgia. And he tells her she should just move back to New York, which is a specific peeve I have when people... Not just like someone who's desperately trying to have you cheat on your spouse, but anytime a person does not acknowledge that you're part of a unit and they're like, well, why don't you just XYZ? Why don't you just move to such and such? Girl, I'm married, the fuck? So anyway, while they're talking and he's like, just move back to New York. He tells her that a year after they broke up, which was right when she started seeing Andy, he came by her and Margot's apartment to try to see her. But Margot cussed him out and told him to leave and then never told Ellen that he came by. So that was some interference that she did in their relationship.
Oh, so we're going to not be friends with her anymore?
So he tells her that he has another photo shoot for her and that she can come back to New York for it. She has to rush off the phone because Andy and her mother-in-law come back. And when the mother-in-law comes over, she has a really thoughtful housewarming gift for them. And Ellen smiles to her face despite the fact that she just got off the phone planning to step out on her son.
Charming.
Andy apologizes for the wine thing because he's a nice, loving person. She tells him about the photo shoot, but not about Leo, obviously, as she spends the next 2 weeks sneaking off to talk to him as soon as her nice rich husband leaves for work.
This is gross.
Yeah. The evening before she's supposed to leave is Margot's baby shower, and all the people are really nice to her, but she begrudges it because she's trying to justify her god-awful behavior, and she steps out to talk to Leo, and she says goodbye in this really gross, flirty way, and then when she turns around, she sees Margot standing there, and it turns out she heard the whole thing.
Imagine being the other people in this story, assuming that she does not stay married to this guy and ends up with the other dude. They're going to be like, remember when so-and-so's ex-wife left the baby shower to go talk to her boyfriend on the phone?
Not only that, she left, the first time she left to talk to him was when they were down there visiting family. And she notates that if her husband were to ever go over their phone bill, he would be like, why were you calling someone in Queens while you were supposed to be eating dinner with us? So Margot tells Ellen that she's ruining everything.
Yeah.
Cool. And then Ellen tries to turn it around and tell her that she was in the wrong for not telling her that Leo came back to try to talk to her.
You ruined everything.
Right. Margot tells her that she has to tell Andy or she will, obviously. And then there's this whole thing about how, like, well, Margot will choose her brother over Ellen as her, family or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, first of all, you put her in a position that she would have to do that. And imagine how bad of a sibling you would have to be to hear your in-law
Sister-in-law
plotting to cheat on your sibling and then be like, well, she was my friend. Girl code. No. That evening,
Here you go. Talk about toxic tropes. Girls girl versus sibling code people.
It depends.
Go to war.
It depends.
Duke it out.
That evening, she tries to go about business as usual and put off telling Andy about her crimes. And she tells him, finally, how the shoot is with Leo and that the one in LA was with him too. And she does that thing where she's like, it's not like that. It's not like how you think. And he's like, no, it's weird that your ex-boyfriend is so important to you that you have to stay close and personal friends with him. Because he's like, this is
First
not...
off,
He's like, if you want to go on like photo shoots in New York, you should go, but perhaps don't go to ones that your ex-boyfriend set up for you. And she's like, no, I have to. He's so important to me.
Ooh.
Horrible.
First off, it wouldn't be weird at all if they were only doing it for work. The fact that she's lying about it.
Absolutely.
That's like a theme. What's weird.
That's like a theme because remember whenever they said that, like that one girl's ex-boyfriend does the lawn for her because they broke up so long ago and she was like, oh, he does it for my parents. Now he like does ours. And that was the whole point, was like the reason that she kept it a secret from him was because she like still liked him. So he asks her, does she still have feelings for Leo? And she says she doesn't know. She says, I don't know, but I have to go meet up with him this weekend. I gotta go find out. He's shaker. I gotta do me. You horrible, horrible heartbeat. And your husband's just gonna,
I'll keep the bed warm for you.
Literally. So she says she has to go. And he gets up to leave because he's not going to kiss her goodbye in the morning while she flies off to see her ex.
Yeah.
So he leaves for the night. And she goes down to get a drink from the kitchen. And she sees a note that he left that says, if you leave, don't come back.
Yeah.
And she's livid that he backed her into a corner.
How dare you? How dare you have self-worth and standards? Fuck off.
She packs all her shit and leaves and gets a cab straight to Leo's apartment.
Oh my God.
They awkwardly hang out in his apartment and he remembers how she takes her coffee and he says that she doesn't look at him like she hates him anymore.
I do. I look at both of them like I hate them.
He asks her if her husband knows she's here, and she says, yeah.
And he suddenly doesn't want her anymore.
And then she looks sad, and he goes, I'm sorry.
Ugh.
He doesn't seem sorry at all.
I'm sorry we both don't want you.
Sorry
you don't have a two-man going.
He says he broke up with his girlfriend recently because she was mad that he was talking to Ellen again.
Weird.
And then they walk around Coney Island all day while she takes pictures, and it's very romantic.
No, it's not.
And then he tells her he would give anything to be with her again and tells her he loves her, and they decide to go back to his apartment to bone.
Fucking trash.
They dance and kiss in his apartment.
Oh my God, I hate this.
But they're interrupted by panicked texts and calls from her sister. So her sister is freaking the fuck out, asking where on the doll did Leo touch her.
Ew.
I don't know why. She's like, you guys didn't fuck, did you? And she says no, but they just kissed. And sister is like, okay, good, don't fuck and leave.
Why?
And she's like, turns out that Andy called the sister, freaked out and worried. And so now her sister is like, you're going to ruin her nice life. And the sister was like, okay, do you figure everything out? But in sister's defense, she didn't realize that Ellen was going to be that bad. She thought she was just going to like work some feelings out. She didn't know she was going to go fuck somebody else. So
I don't really know how you thought that was going to go some other way.
I don't know. So she's like, you need to get the fuck out of this apartment where this guy's trying to fuck you and don't ruin your nice life that you have with these rich people in Atlanta. And because their family did not have money at all. They were like poor people. And she goes, it's not that simple, Ellen.
And yet it is.
And her sister says, it is actually that simple. Don't cheat on your husband, the end. So as she says, it's not that simple. Her sister is a real one and says, yes, it is. Just don't cheat on your husband. And so
she's like, I can't. I have to.
It calls me. She goes back to talk to Leo, and he's still on that weird fuck shit about not believing in forever, which is fucking funny because her marriage is going to be over forever. And he's one of those grossest kind of guys that says they're like too young to settle down, but they're like middle-aged.
But they also think they're going to be alone forever.
They're like old men, and they're like, I can't settle down. I'm 50. Okay. Oh my God, get your AARP card and settle down.
Methuselah.
So thank fuck, she comes to her senses and leaves. And all the while, he bitches and moans and tells her to call him when she gets back to her hotel.
Fuck no.
And she goes, yeah, I will.
No.
And then she gets in a cab and doesn't look back.
Good God.
Instead of going back to her hotel, she goes back to the first apartment that she had with Andy and calls to tell him where she is. And like 2 seconds later, he pulls up because he came to find her, and he apologizes for making her uproot her life.
Sorry for making you cheat on me.
A year later.
This is clearly my fault.
Right.
A year later, she does it again.
A year later, they have a nice life, and she splits her time between New York and Atlanta. And her husband is God's strongest soldier.
Yeah, he is!
For trusting her to live part-time in the city where she cheated on him. And she decides he never has to know she kissed Leo. The end.
The way I would have been like, get paid the next time you're going to be a whore. That is horrible.
He never has to know.
He never has to know.
Oh my God. And every day, every time she like flies back to New York, she sees Leo's apartment from the plane. And goes, oh, I used to love that man.
Oh my God.
Here's what we're going to do. Instead of like a thing that I made up, we are going to book club discussion questions. Or would you rather do your segment?
I don't care where they are now. I hope they both die. I hope they both go scenic.
No, Andy's a nice
I hope
person.
they go on a scenic helicopter tour of the bay, of the Hudson, and it crashes.
Reading Goop Guide. Do you think it is normal?
No! Next!
Here's a good one.
Do you think it's normal to be a cheating whore?
The Grant's world which is Andy's family, is vastly different from the world in which Ellen grew up. Would you be attracted to the Graham's world?
No.
Money?
No.
Yes.
No.
A money in a house with a pool?
No, because they're implying that the elitism and the classism of like them all getting together all the time and making fun of the people who don't like act correct the first time and laughing at the wine and shit and the fucking Confederate flags and shit. No. You didn't read it right. You can get money at a pool anywhere. You don't gotta marry that weird-ass family that probably has Aunt Jemima cookie jars and probably lives on a plantation.
Mm-hmm. In many ways, Andy seems to be an ideal husband. He is thoughtful, considerate, successful. How do you...
A cuck? In many ways, Andy feels like a cuck.
Ellen questions her relationship with him. How do you feel when she compares Andy and Leo? Disgusted.
Yeah.
How is Leo different from Andy?
Disgusting?
Andy probably wouldn't cheat on his wife or cheat with someone else.
Andy wouldn't run off with a guy from New York. Probably not, just saying. Andy didn't lie about some guy he kissed. Ain't no fucking way that Margot and her were friends after that. You shot the bed on that one.
Well, she's
so
still,
for real.
No, she is in like, Margot apologized for not...
Margot apologized! The way that Nesta girls ate this shit up. They were like, absolutely, I can have an indiscretion. That girl will still be my friend, and I'm still married.
Well, I thought it was nice that, like, you know, Margot's like her bestie or whatever, but her sister's the only person that knows that she
was like,
him.
Bitch, shut the fuck up.
Right.
Which, that's what healthy...
She was like, did you fuck him?
That's
she
healthy
was like,
friendship right there. They were like, absolutely not!
She was like, did you fuck him? She was like, no. She goes, get out!
Run!
I was like, I just like that.
Run, no!
She's like, good, get out.
He's like, only a little. I touched the tip. Run!
Oh my God, you're gonna hate this one.
The guy's in the bathroom staring at his package.
What do you think it says about Ellen that she likes the view of the world through the lens of her camera? I think it says she's a fucking pick-me-ass motherfucker.
I think that she spent too long on Tumblr in 2012.
At what point do you feel Ellen should have told Andy about Leo's involvement? I think she should have told him when she saw him on the street.
When he messaged and said, hey, I have a job opportunity. And then he could have said, cool, go get that bag, sis.
Right. Or he could have come with you.
The way that
the way that her sister was like, oh, I'll play
the
his sister.
way
Her
that
husband showed
media
up.
and social media and current people act like people's spouses, partners, husbands, wives, significant others don't want you to have a job or like to be successful. And every person I've ever seen is like, yeah, go get paid for that thing. The only time people are like, no, fuck you, no opportunity, is for domestic violence.
What are your overall thoughts on Leo? Do you feel that he's genuine?
No, I think he's someone's washed up basement dwelling, smells musty, smokes too much weed, having high school ass, like super cool, dated after high school boyfriend who like tripped and fell into a good job at someone's magazine and is like,
so he's awful. Like, I don't understand why she was attracted to him at all.
Like a musty, stank ass musician, like not even a musician, like he knows a bunch of musicians and that's how he's getting her all these gigs. And he's like, that's why he has that Peter Pan fucking syndrome where he's like, oh, I don't want to settle down.
I don't believe him forever. Literally,
he's like, I really like, you're my favorite thing that I own, so like, be open to me, but I'm not going to settle down in case something better comes along.
The way that he was like, you're married to someone who promised to sickness and health you, and
dump him for me.
Dump him for me, but I can't make you any promises.
I'm going to keep my options open. You're my save me back burner person.
Margot doesn't tell Ellen that Leo came back to the apartment. Do you see that as a betrayal or an act of friendship? Or both?
Oh, that was gross.
Yeah.
That shit's gross as fuck.
It was gross because she was like, my brother's going to get it in, so I don't want to ruin it for him.
Right. The way that she...
Almost like if
he thought that they were meant for each other. Okay, fine, absolutely.
Yeah, she wanted to have her little cookie cutter. We all live in Atlanta.
Right,
we're all
like the
dating
we
and
married
married
brothers
to each other.
thing.
Yeah.
The way that you take away other people's choice is wild. You can't do that. Now, you didn't have to tell her that day if they broke up really messy and he showed up and was like being gross and he was the worst. But you could have told her the next day, by the way, he came by yesterday. Like, you don't have to call and say, he's here right now, come see him. If you genuinely think it's bad for someone's mental health.
But they were back and forth. And
you definitely needed to tell her he had come by to see her. That's crazy.
I think that her dating Andy was like the linchpin to that because I could see, I'm not saying it would be right.
You're not her parent. You don't get to decide that. Because if she finds out later, she's going to run to him and be like, they tried to keep us apart. Like, literally. No, that shit's weird. Now, if I was her parent, would I tell him? Fuck no. If I was her parent and he came and I thought he was the worst piece of trash ever... I'm going to tell you. If you wanted to be with her so bad, try again. Try more than one time. Make sure you see her. You don't come by her apartment one time and when her roommate says no, you leave forever.
Do you think her sister was a positive or negative influence? And which was a better friend, sister or Margot?
The sister.
Sister was better. And because here's the thing. I feel like this sense of, she was a bad influence came from the fact that when she went to LA and saw them like eye-fucking each other, she didn't tell her, hey, don't talk to him. She was like, work your feelings out or whatever. But that was really just a case of her sister thinking too highly of her.
Well, that's her bad.
Right.
But no, people who hold you to a higher standard are better.
Yeah. Do you feel, this is the stupidest question, do you feel Ellen would have gone further with Leo had her sister not called when she did?
Fuck yes.
And do you feel that Ellen had already cheated on Andy prior to this moment?
She had dropped her drawers.
I feel like she cheated on Andy
when she was holding hands on the plane.
No, before that. I feel like she cheated on him when she called from the family dinner and stuck to the bathroom.
Talking would have been one thing.
Sneaking it.
But the sneaking, made it weird.
Even talking.
Because she knew she was doing something she shouldn't be doing.
Even talking and not mentioning it wouldn't be the actively hiding it.
Yeah, she knew she shouldn't.
Right. Because you don't necessarily have to tell.
But she held hands for hours.
Every time an ex comments on your Facebook or sends you a how are you doing message, you don't necessarily but hiding it, no. Okay. Do you think Ellen would ever confess what happened in Leo's apartment, and would you confess?
I hella would. She hella would not. Maybe on their deathbed.
If it's been a year and it's been that long, I'd be like, in my head, I would rewrite history. I would convince myself that I didn't do it. Do the true psycho thing. Discuss Ellen's revelation that love is a choice and not a surge of passion. Ew, first of all, surge of passion. Why would you worry like that? Second of all, I thought for the whole book was worth it just for the conversation she had with her sister where she was like, it's not that simple. And her sister was like, yeah, don't fuck a guy. All that to say, these characters were deeply unlikable. Andy was fine. He was kind of a dud.
Yeah.
And if she had a problem with them being weird and Southern and probably racist, she shouldn't have married him.
Mm-hmm.
But you guys lived in New York and you loved having all that money.
At the time,
You loved this family because first Margot financed her life and then Andy
That
did.
was crazy.
So you loved having this family finance your life in New York.
Wild.
But as soon as they were like, hey, we love you and we want you to be part of us, she's like, actually, I want to go fuck my ex. I'd rather her not.
They should have known she was trash.
And like, oh, she has to be part of New York. It's alive and bustling. Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. You're not even like, almost if you were born and raised in New York, I could see being like, okay, it's a very specific cultural way of life. She's born in Pennsylvania, in Pittsburgh or something like that. Like, you can acclimate to another city. I promise you, if Leo was like, let's move to LA, she'd be bags packed with him. Thank you for listening to Read It and Screech. If you'd like to support us, please do, bitch. Rate, review, and subscribe.
If you call people a bitch, you lose half your audience.
Thank you for listening to Read It and Screech. Please find us on TikTok and YouTube at Read It and Screech. And rate, review, and subscribe.